to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of the jackpots, and the agony of the tilt. The Silverball drama with a focus on competition. The International Flipper Pinball Association, funwithbonus.com, and Coast to Coast Pinball bring you the wide world of pinball.
Welcome, everyone, to the wide world of pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. I will be one of your hosts, along with Mr. Steve Bowden. Say hello.
Hello.
Mr. Josh Sharp. Say hello.
Hello. It's my pre-puberty voice, like the intro.
How dare you? How dare you? Welcome, everyone. I want to thank you. This is our new little project we're doing. This is obviously a podcast. This is a show with a focus and a target on the competitive pinball scene that includes tournaments, leagues, dollar games in the back, if you will. I hope everyone's doing well.
Steve and I have tons of quarters from all of our wins.
Yep.
It's so totally different than your podcast where you have no quarters. My
podcast. I am Nate Shivers. I am the host of Coast to Coast Pinball, which apparently is on some sort of break. We're still working that out. I am going to be the one actually doing most of the work on the technical side of this, but I enlisted some smart minds and some great players for this show. This is a three-headed monster, if you will.
The Soft Plunge.
Let's start with the highest-ranked player in the room, Mr. Steve Bowden.
Pardon? Excuse me. That what?
Yeah, that'd be you, Mr. Top 10 here, number 8 in the world on the IFPA rankings, which we'll dive into in a little bit. Steve, tell us where you're from, who you are, and why you're here.
Well, I'm a Jersey boy, but I guess most people who are listening to this show will know me from funwithbonus.com, which is my humble little website that is focused on pinball and pinball tournaments. I'm an enthusiast finding stories on the internet that I hope pinballers will find interesting. Share if you agree.
You post every day, right?
I try to. Yeah, I try to post every day something. Just to, if nothing else, just to keep my SEO up. So just to make sure that at least I keep active enough to stay. Just to keep my rankings high and something else other than pinball, right?
That's fantastic.
that Google sees me. But anyway, yeah, anything that I find, that I hope people would like, I'll post up there. And if I don't find anything interesting, I might create something original. Who knows?
Steve won the Expo Flip Out tournament in 2015. He is a regular on the New York City, North New Jersey scene, hits as many of the major tournaments as he can every year. One of the best players.
If I can drive to it, I'll probably be there.
Yeah, this driving to Papa thing has got to stop.
No, that's fine.
Let me get you on a plane.
Work. Yeah, I'm about to get me on a plane, right? Yeah, no, I think it actually works out pretty well for me to drive there. As long as my car stays faithful, then I'll keep driving.
I invited Steve to be a part of this crazy show because as I've over the years with Coast to Coast Pinball and with Pinball with the Pros, I get a lot of email about how great Steve Bowden is and how much fun he is and his energy, so we had to bring him in. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Josh Sharp, how are you?
I just realized that Steve is ranked higher than I am when you started talking, and it's
it wasn't you that I was referencing.
I was just like, what the? Oh my god, he is higher than I am. God damn.
So you're the veteran, Josh Sharp.
I am.
Josh Sharp, president of the IFPA.
I might be the youngest between the three of us. Is that right?
I think that's correct, sir.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll be 37 in about 60 days.
I'm behind you.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in front of both of you. Sweet. So, I get to be the elder statement.
The elder statement.
Yeah.
Josh Sharp obviously used to wear the "My Dad Saved Pinball" T-shirt. We know that Roger Sharp is obviously your father, brother of the #1 ranked player in the world right now.
Yeah, he's also above me, man.
Yeah, Zach Sharp took over the #1 spot recently. We'll get into that. Josh, you have been a big part of Coast to Coast Pinball. We started talking competition, talking the tournament scene, changed my show, so I thought you needed to be a part of this.
Dragged you into our little world.
And for that, I think we thank you.
Yeah, we thank you. It's nice to add a person.
Well, I appreciate it. What's going on in Josh Sharp's world right now?
Hoping that my kid stays asleep tonight, or else we're going to have to start this all over for the second time.
How dare you?
Third time.
How dare you?
I can't help myself.
Everyone always said, Nate, you should have a co-host on Coast to Coast Pinball. I'm like, no, man, that causes problems.
It does.
And we proved that already.
Everything's going well. The tournament scene really sort of blasts off in March, and we had our little If Papa in April, and now things are sort of settling in for the summer, the long run of tournament pinball.
How many years have you been playing tournament pinball?
My first tournament was in 1993. So
hold on.
This is year number 23.
23 years. That's what I came up with also.
I have Excel open, so I'm fairly confident it's 23 years.
There you go. Well, I can't think of two gentlemen I'd rather be doing this with. We are going to have a loose format every show. We figure this may be a monthly-ish show or as needed. Sometimes it might just be me and Steve. Sometimes it might just be me and Josh. If Josh and Steve want to do a show without me, I'd love to see it happen.
Hey, I'm down.
I'd love to see it happen. I really would.
Stranger things have happened.
It's true. So, looking forward to it. This has been what we're going to call every show the soft plunge, where we talk about whatever's on our mind. And this week it was introductions. Moving into the hard plunge, if you will.
The hard plunge.
There'll be a sound effect right there, guys.
Yes, I can't wait to hear it.
I can't wait to.
You know what I just realized? So you haven't had a podcast in forever.
Yeah.
And now we are doing one tonight, and I don't get to enjoy like being a Nate listener because I'm on this and I'm not going to listen to it, so it's kind of bumming me out.
Well,
you gotta,
but there could very well be a Coast to Coast Pinball bonus episode soon.
Ooh,
okay, that's interesting. Yeah,
well, then I better treat you nice tonight. Make sure that happens.
It could happen. We're getting close. We're getting really close.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting for me because I figured I'd be watching my podcast feed, and all of a sudden a Coast to Coast episode would show up, and then I'd be listening to it, pleased that I'm listening to the new episode finally. But then I'm on it.
You are the new episode, Steve.
Okay. We get to scoop everyone.
Yeah, Coast to Coast Pinball will be back.
Technically, yes. Steve, you and I are listening to Nate doing a podcast right now, so we kind of have a front row seat.
Yeah, we're right here. Yep.
And all I'll say about myself is I love pinball. I have fallen so deeply in love with the business of pinball, the tournament scene, the show scene. I love collecting. I got games behind me in the office here. I have a great story to tell soon about me and pinball. And I'm so glad to still be doing stuff in pinball, and I don't plan on stopping. So that's all I'll say about me. I'm here to rub elbows with the great ones. So let's jump right into this. Josh Sharp posted on May 18th on the IFP website, WWOP formula change to version 5.3 for 2017. I think he likes to just troll the internet to rile them up and give them fair warning of what he's going to do. This is a great topic because some of this will directly affect Mr. Steve Bowden and his New York City Super League. Some of this will affect all of us playing in selfie leagues, super selfie leagues. And I thought that it would be nice to dissect both the changes for this year that we came into for 2016 and where they stand now, close to the midway point for the year, and then what's coming down for 2017 and sort of dive into what that will mean for you guys and for maybe everybody who might be listening out there. So, Josh, what did we do this year? What were the major changes going into 2016?
I had 2017 stuff all open, ready to talk about, and then you throw me for this curveball of now we have to talk about what actually is happening right now.
Correct.
I have no idea.
I'm not going to make it easy for you. Is that version 5.2?
It is version 5.2, and I do have it open.
Okay, very good. Let's jump into that. That's what's going on now.
Yes. So the big changes for this year is that we no longer endorse tournaments that don't have a direct play component as part of the format. And the issue there was tournaments being able to log games played by players at sort of as they come at their leisure. And there was an advantage or I guess easier way to explain it is there was a disadvantage for tournaments that required players to all be somewhere at the same time because it's just less flexible for players to be able to work with. So naturally, you're going to have less people, and it was leading towards issues of point exploitation for tournament structures that didn't require players to be there playing each other.
So, for instance, if you had a very high traffic pinball location, like, I don't know, let's just say New York City.
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah, that's a good example.
You like that one? That's a good one. And people just rolled in and maybe signed up on a list, and somebody said, hey, play these games, and you're in our, quote, league, and they don't really know what they do. They play the games. It wasn't really fair to award competitive point rankings for players who were basically getting to play these randoms.
Yeah, and I mean, and more to that was like the format now, just in total. It's not even about like those players not getting points or not adding, to the points pool, but the format itself is now worth 0 without having some sort of portion. And Steve can get into when we talk about what they're doing for finals this year.
Right.
Last year, the Super League didn't have a finals.
Yeah, it basically became like a high score contest, a set based high score contest, but a high score contest nonetheless because there was no final. And I can win a high score contest. I've done it before, so and the advantage being I can still come in every so often from New Jersey to New York, and I could still come in and do it.
So really, I think I think that those rules were important, and the reason I wanted to bring them up here was that you kind of were defining what is competitive pinball, right?
A little bit. I know, over the years, people have sort of, sent us emails of like, why don't you just list out the tournament, dictate what tournaments are allowed and what aren't, and just be explicit about it. And we've chosen to not go that route because I like the creativity that organizers bring in terms of trying to figure out fun and different ways for us to play against each other. The big commonality between everything was play against each other rather than, playing by yourself and then seeing how you do against other people based on, a game that you played a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
And I've seen the argument, people would say, well, pinball is an individual thing, man, and it's you against the machine, much in the way that you could argue golf is just you against the course. But if you want to have a tournament, you bring everyone together on the same day, and you all play together, and you compare scores.
It brings up, the situational play aspect of pinball, which is different than just stepping up and either aiming for a predetermined score or, quote unquote, just doing the best you can. And whether the best you can means I just need to not have a bad game or I need to blow it up. And when you're put into those, direct matches, either in groups of 2 or 3 or 4 or 6, if you're playing a Baywatch, you really have to, the strategic element of like ball to ball play, depending on the situation, really comes out.
So, Steve, I think this is a good way to pivot into your really fantastically written blog on funwithbonus.com from May 22nd titled 4,000 When Lit, or Big Head Mode. You go into a few different things in this blog, but one of the things I want to talk about right this second was what the New York Super League actually did for a finals, because you said you didn't have a finals before, and now you do.
Right, yeah. Last year there was last year meaning the 2015 year, there were no finals, so it just became whoever had the highest aggregate score across all of the sets won, and then everybody was ranked accordingly. I mean, it was still set based, which was part of a misnomer that I'd heard being talked about the format. It's not a herb style. Because a herb style would be individual games where the higher score counts, regardless of regardless of how many games you played. Even in 2015, it was set based. So all of the games in the interactive showroom were divided in groups of 7 games or in groups of 9 games.
So there was a ticket you had to play, basically.
It's ticket based, yes. So you have to play as consistently as you can across your 7-game ticket in order, for those to count toward your total sets. And then the next week was another set of games, and then the next week was another set, and so on. And so the aggregate total of all of that became your standing.
So you could never see another competitor and win the thing.
In the 2015 series, yes.
Yes. So for 2016, you added a finals, which may be one of the most interesting finals formats I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I am. Was definitely an innovative final, which is I'm glad that the choice for this year was not to stifle innovation. I guess I should say, right? But
See, I mean, it's a fun format, and it never would have happened without giving some flexibility.
Right. There's definitely some flexibility there, giving an account also that we didn't want to be there all night. So that's also part of it. So the final, the Super League final, as of this year, until it changes in 2017 due to the new rules, is, I mean, it's not it was misinterpreted as a one ball playoff or a first one to get the multi-ball wins. Neither of those things is correct. It's actually broken down more simply, where if you take you figure your first priority is to get multi-ball and your second priority is your score. So multi-ball, then score. That's the basic, rule as far as the whole thing. But I break down how that works, giving cases on the post. So if you just go to funwiththose.com and search for 4,000, it'll show up, because it's dropped off the main page by now. But I mean, if you want me to get into how that works, give me some examples.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea that it like you said, it's multi-ball then score. But if one person gets a multi-ball on their first ball of that game and the other person does not, that game is over.
That game is over, because player 1 got multi-ball, player 2 did not counter. That's it. Same way, if player 1 failed to get multi-ball, player 2 gets multi-ball, that's it. Checkmate, done. The more interesting situation is, say, when they both get multi-ball on the same ball. In that case, the one with the higher score at the end of that ball wins. So let's say if you stepped up to, Mustang, and you got multi-ball, you start the 1970 multi-ball, because everyone does, and you get 15 million. And then player 2 comes up and starts multi-ball, and they get 30 million, then player 2 won. And that's it.
Which leads to the really interesting example of player 1 gets multi-ball and scores 10 million. Player 2 does not start a multi-ball but outscores player 1 and still loses.
Right. You still lost because you did not start multi-ball. You did not qualify your score, really. It's the multi-ball that qualifies you.
So, Josh, when you heard about this, what are your thoughts on that format in general?
It's crap, Nate.
Is it bad?
No, it doesn't bother me. It's it's another. You see it with pin golf, and pin golf being another thing that we're changing for next year.
Another
rules.
thing you're assassinating, yeah.
Yeah, but like the idea that, and I mean, you heard Steve. They don't want to be there all night, and guess what? No tournament organizer wants to be there all night.
Actually, the Sanctum sometimes does want to be there all night.
They want to be there all night, and
we were
and
all
afternoon.
morning. Yeah, on energy drinks and snack bars. I remember that. Oh, goodness.
And then I remember you winning that.
Yeah.
It is a means to an end, though, to try and take a large league that's taking a percentage of their total players into the finals to get their Whopper points. And this is a way to kind of speed up the evening.
It is. And the rules next year will address, I guess, the validity of those games played in terms of the not being 3-ball games played more often than not. I guess more often than not is a blind guess on my part. Steve could speak to how often full games are played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd actually love to know that. Like, how often is it just one ball and done?
It depends on the game. If you're talking about multi-ball, if you're talking about multi-ball on Mustang...
How often on Mustang are all 3 balls played?
Never.
Very, very less often, right? I mean, you're talking about a flail fest, right? I mean, it would be absolutely nearly impossible. I mean, because that's what makes Mustang so dangerous, even choosing it. Because you can start 1970 and get countered by a Gear 3 multi-ball and lose completely. So it becomes a chess match, especially on a quick game like Mustang, or even like Star Trek Pro. You can start Vengeance because everyone does, or you could counter with Klingon and completely destroy the first player. So it depends on how you want to play it. Versus a game like Xenon with lightning flippers, I mean, starting multi-ball on that is ridiculous. But I mean, so the Xenon games frequently go to 3 balls, and frequently you'll see players on, say, Xenon go for score, hoping that no one starts multi-ball, until you might see someone just all of a sudden change and go for multi-ball to just cut them off. Meanwhile, the second player has gotten all these ramp shots and scoring huge points. but then all of a sudden you'll see someone try and go for the multi-ball just to take the game from it. Or something like Fishtail, same thing. Someone's going monster fish, saying, betting that no one's going to start multi-ball on it. Because that Fishtails is another one that's difficult to start multi-ball on, especially with the lock shot or even going with the captive ball. So it becomes a chess match when people are mentally thinking against each other on some games, and other games it becomes a sprint because multi-ball is going to start, so you better do it right. And other games it's just a coin flip. Like if you have The Walking Dead, just throw everything out of the window. I mean, that game is dangerous.
Sure. I'm guessing higher seed chooses game or higher seed chooses.
Higher seed has the first choice, so the higher seed can choose game or order, and then the other player has the remaining choice.
Are people picking Xenon? Is that common?
Yes. I had a game of Xenon chosen against me in the semifinal.
Interesting.
And then
do you always
Xenon.
choose game or do you choose position?
I choose game for the beginning part because there's lots of choices. And then toward the end, I might choose order, depending on what my opponent has chosen already, because you can only choose a game once during the final, because there's like 20-some-odd games in there, and like 75% of them have multi-balls on them. So, once you pick one, you can't pick that one again for the rest of the night. So it may depend on what my opponent has chosen, or if I just don't care, and I just want to go second, maybe, because there are definitely advantages of going second on some games, depending on what the other player picks. I mean, a lot of the time, maybe just spent on players thinking about what they're going to pick, because it's such a cutthroat format.
Sure.
Your choice can really affect whether you even have an advantage in going first. I mean, it can be like that. So, yeah, definitely.
All right, so Josh, as we look forward to 2017 and the new set of Whopper rules,
the new hotness or the new hateness,
the new hateness, have come out. What are the highlights here, and what has been the points that have been talked up the most?
Let's see. So our continued hope is to balance the points available with respect to time. And that limits the ability for organizers to be tempted by formats that can grade out higher and not take as long. So one of the changes that has to do with Super League's final, for example, is that any game played that it's possible to finish the game prior to 3 balls being played, and including finishing on the first ball, it's only going to be worth 1/3 of a game towards the
so you're basically assuming worst or best case scenario, or what you're assuming least ball scenario.
Correct. For anything outside of pin golf, which now has its own thing, any sort of a perfect example of a format that we now can endorse with this rule that we for 2017 that we can't this year is what Joe Said is doing with Pinball Done Quick.
Yep.
And I find that format to be awesome, and especially very stream-worthy awesome. It's really exciting to watch a player try to achieve an objective as quickly as possible. And now it's not going to be graded as high as a full game played, but there is a place and a time for that kind of format to exist within our landscape. And this gives some flexibility for organizers to do that.
I think one of the other big things that stuck out to me is that there needs to be some more supervision on the leagues in order to count the qualifying portion of the leagues towards Whopper points.
Yes, we can get into our... But we sort of talked about the super selfie league birth on your other podcast, and now we can talk about destroying it on this podcast.
Yeah, and I think most people listening to this show are probably familiar with the selfie league. I still see more and more posts popping up on social media about new leagues or leagues continuing. It seems like it still has momentum. The selfie league, the idea that I can qualify for my league by going in on my own time, playing whatever games are deemed for the league, taking my photo of me and the score, sending them to my tournament organizer, and meeting up for the finals. But as of right now, the whole thing is counting towards points, correct?
Yes. And, with a portion of the grading based on a time component, and a time component being it's like 1% per hour up to 20%. All of these selfie leagues that run 24/7 for a month, they're getting a free 20% boost with activity that's completely unverified, where there is no tournament director or any sort of official on-site to be able to handle anything that may go wrong or that may go right in the positive beneficial malfunction style of incident.
Sure. Have you heard any reports of cheating out there?
I haven't, at least nothing too bad, like nothing that would render a tournament director needing to throw out a result from a player or whatever. The biggest issue, at least we've had with the Super League that we've run, was players holding back their scores and then submitting it later in the month, even though they had gotten it early.
Mm-hmm.
But the location actually has taken steps to remedy that by putting a little sign on the DMD or the display for the older games and changing what that is and giving a warning to the players that I think they end up changing it once a week. So if someone really wants to hold their score for a week, they probably can. But it certainly has helped.
Is there any problem with that, do you think? As long as you're not holding it to the next month in a new version of the league?
If you think about any tournament that you go and play in, part of the process is you play your game, your score gets recorded, and it's a thing that's instantaneous. And the idea of a selfie league is we're trying to mimic an actual tournament. So the hope would be, it's sort of quote unquote in real time as things happen. Being able to, if you take it to the extreme, like having it, what if everyone holds all of their scores until the last day of the month? It just makes for, and we've talked about it on your other show, a big part of what has been a huge success with these things is the ability for the players to have some sort of camaraderie and communicate, via, we do our Facebook group, but that commentary that goes back between players during the month, it's equivalent to us sitting in those, Papa Classics chairs and really BSing with each other until we're waiting to play, except all this BSing is being done online as people are posting their scores. I know between the three of us, we've had a handful of conversations. You're sitting in that chair and you're talking to the guy next to you and they're in the middle of a run and you can talk, how many games do you have down out of your 4 or 5?
Exactly.
Like, that's part of what makes competitive pinball like way more fun than actually playing is the interaction and camaraderie you do have with the other people that are playing.
I agree with that. Steve, do I remember correctly, is there a Jersey Selfie League going now?
There is not a Jersey Selfie League going right now, and it was in the works, and I was thinking of starting it, but then I saw the recent changes that are going to be in progress, and it decreased my motivation.
Oh my God, I'm ruining pinball.
Josh,
you're ruining pinball, Josh. You're ruining pinball. But no, I mean, I was still thinking of doing it. I am still thinking of doing it. Our league season is over, so I guess the onus becomes on me to see if I can just start it now. But,
I really like what Josh's group has done and Mark's group here in San Diego has done, where they put a monitor in the pinball area with the monthly scores updated on there. I love walking into Harbortown Pub in San Diego, or when I'm in Chicago, level 257, and having that score there, and that is why I do believe it is important to submit your scores, so that I can look at the Gorgar machine, which hates me, and
not as much as it hates me.
I know, but look and see what I need to do to get up there, and it gives me a target. I actually really like that.
Yeah, I mean, you think about how asinine it would be for, like, I don't know, say all of Papa's entries to not be tabulated until Sunday morning. And in essence, that's sort of what this ends up doing with people holding their scores, is you end up walking up and there's no, like, well, what game should I pick? What are the scores on these? It ruins all of that.
Yeah, there's no strategy to even go into what you're going to do, or you don't know how well you're going to do, and even after you're done, you don't know if you're in the final until whenever. I mean, you never really know. Or even better, you can hold off your great score like a trump card and just lay it down at the very end and just ace of spades everybody out of their qualifying spot and shift everything around.
There have been instances of guys holding tickets with 4 scores on them, though, in Papa before, and waiting to put their 5th score in, with no guarantee, obviously.
Those are also in you can see them in progress.
You can see it.
You can't see them, yep.
Right.
Okay. All right.
But to be clear, that you also, like, like tournament organizers are welcome to allow people, we're not enforcing people to have to keep up real-time scoring. It's just what we've ended up doing for our league here in Chicago.
Excellent. And those changes will take place in January, right? That's for 2017.
Yes.
All right. So basically, what it's doing, you can still run a selfie league. We're not killing that, but the only Whopper points will be awarded for a selfie league that has oversight of obviously the
Correct.
finals.
It's a right sizing of the value, and
I love that word. It's right siding. Was somebody fired? Nobody was fired. Okay.
Middle management all over it.
They were.
But when comparing, and the same thing, it has to do with the points that we're awarding for the difficulty of the organization of the tournament. And for selfie leagues, like I organize many different tournaments. We organize a World Championship. Zach and I organize, a national level size tournament, and we organize this selfie league. And the hours of blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to run many of the bigger tournaments that we run, is insane compared to how little of an effort it actually takes me to run the selfie league for a given month. So, is it really fair that I'm able to get all of these points earned for not verifying anything while the month goes on, besides, looking at a picture that's emailed to me and updating, some standings on Carl's Never Drain software and showing up to the location one night a month for an hour and a half. And the level of the workload that, as an organizer I'm putting into it just doesn't compare to a quote unquote normal tournament.
All right. I have some notes here.
I was going to say, do you want to get into any? There's another big change that's happening.
Yes. What's the other big change, Mr. Sharp?
So, outside of, all right, so pin golf, people are welcome to. We started the IFPA tour of endorsed pin golf events. You can go read about that at your leisure. It's not quite Steve Bowden level dissertation of 4,000 words. It's maybe
thank you very much.
400 words. It gets a little geeked out on how pin golf formats will be graded, and it is pretty much we're just tightening things up because I've played in enough pin golf formats where, the goal on Adam's Family is 3 million. Okay, go. Plunge, skill shot, side round, walk away, done.
Wow.
And
that's completely the opposite of what the pin golf I used to run. Yeah, I would put purposely tough pin golf scores so people would have to re-enter, and then the pot would get crazily high. Wouldn't be for many Whoppers because we couldn't gather many people at the location. But if you're splitting $700 at the end of the season, because my scores are that ridiculous, but just not ridiculous enough to chase people away, but just ridiculous enough for them to say, "Oh yeah, I think I could get that." But I didn't even think of that.
It'll be graded accordly. So for people that run, like what we do with the Pin Masters, we don't mess around either. We like letting people, play games and not reach target scores and deal with that frustration of, I'm a golfer, so it's nice to.
How many balls do you set those games on for Pin Masters?
5.
5 balls. Okay.
Every game, no matter what. So, all right. Outside of that rule, the other big change, and this was also a big. Not only a Super League issue out at Modern, but a bigger issue for tournaments that were a part of shows. And it started in Louisville maybe 2 years ago when we started, not only giving value to players, to anyone that participated, rather than having a minimum base value, but the number of players that play also end up slowing the decrease of points between first and last place. So the Louisville Expo one year went from 70 players participating, and then the next year it was 300 players were in the results, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Was that a giveaway of one free entry or something like that?
That was exactly what it was.
Okay,
so
that's what causes that. Yeah,
everyone that entered the show, you got your little goodie bag with your shirt and your wristband and a free entry into the top 7 best game qualifying format where playing one time will get you nowhere. But for these people, it's just sort of a part of their event weekend. So they'll show up and it's like, hey, I'm supposed to put this to the... And we see it, Pinball Expo in Chicago has since done that after Louisville did. And there's a ton of people that, even holding their goodie bag, they come over and they're like, holding out their ticket and have no idea what's going on. And it's like, hi, I have this.
I'm here for the tournament.
Right. It's like, which game would you like to play? I don't know. What does this get me?
These are all good games. These are all the best looking games at the show. I'd like to play one of these. Yes.
So starting next year, right now, if you play even one game of a tournament, you are considered in that tournament and you are in the results. And next year, you are only counted if you play in at least 50% of the games that are used in determining those qualifying positions for the finals.
So if it's 7 games, you got to play in 4 of them.
If it's 7, you got to play in 4, and we've seen that with the modern list of especially with the games that they play all month. And I think Stevie touched on it. It's like 7 a month, 7 a week. You guys
7 a week, right?
And if you go down the standings of the 8,400 players that played in December.
Yeah. After the dedicated, New Yorkers, and then the visitors.
I forget. Am I on December or not? Was I in New York in December?
Yeah, and then it just drops off the board after all of us diehards are up there. Then you'll get it really starts to drop off. So hopefully this will help solidify that problem. Just so that
and the fear and the argument is like, man, it really, and it does. I feel for the fact that these people that are sort of just getting their first taste and being able to sort of advertise like, hey, if you step up and play and join this thing, you're going to be a world-ranked pinball player. And that has gone a long way of, the promotional side of what the ranking system is all about. But it has really been at the expense of the accuracy of the rankings. And the changes that we've made over the last few years have focused far more on accuracy, and we're allowing the game itself to be its best promotional tool and continuing to expand the player base.
Well, you can still kind of say that. You could just say, well, you can be a world-ranked player if
you show up every week. But I think, what, there'll be a right-sizing from, what Francesco is planning for next year that's going to bring the number of games that you guys have to play down. So, I mean, if there's a chance for, if I know I can't get to the city, once a week for all 3 weeks, there's a chance for me to still play enough to matter.
Right. So you're saying that I might be able to save on my Easy Pass?
You might be able to save on your Easy Pass.
All right.
You don't take the train in? You always drive?
I used to take the train in until that one time long ago when I won Pinferno. And I won one of the Pinferno tournaments at Reciprocal. May it rest in peace.
Yes.
Over the silence. But my winning it caused me to have to stay just long enough not to miss the New York trains, because the New York trains are actually good trains. But the New Jersey system
trains, gotcha,
is an issue. So being stuck at Penn Station for a few hours overnight on mischief night.
Oh no.
Okay, I mean, I saw so many Toads and Marios walking, so many, and I'm just sitting there waiting for the next morning train to come. So after that, I'm like, nope, I'm driving in. I don't care how many taxis I have to avoid. I'm not doing it again. So that's why I drive in all the time.
Fair enough.
Okay, that ended that. That was a while ago, so that's fine. But yeah, this is I think these new changes. People may argue, oh, they're aimed at Super League, or they're not. No, if we can get more people to play 50% and qualify for it, that just solidifies it, makes it look better. But I can only be, more. I think positive a lot, so I just,
I think that it's interesting that you, maybe more than any other player, sort of has gotten kind of pulled. I don't want to say you're the face of the New York Super League, but you are the highest ranked player to sort of come out of that group, and I think it's been interesting to watch you break away from the pack a little bit and climb up the rankings, because take away Super League, you're playing some of the best pinball in the world right now.
And it's sort of like, it's not about getting credit for it. I don't know. But I did have my run, and Super League helped give me a floor.
Sure.
So that I couldn't fall below a certain level. So I appreciated that, but I'm going to Atlanta in a week. When is it? So yeah, I'll be visiting Atlanta because I missed last year, so I wanted to go back because it's just a great show and Southern Fried. I visit a lot of the tournaments, but especially in 2015, what happened? I essentially went there. Other than wanting to support Modern, because I want to support the effort there. I mean, I was trying to go there and try and take away as many points as I could and steal them back to New Jersey, just so I can take them all from the New York players. And then once I saw what was going to happen with the changeover, then it became, okay, let me see if I can take as many points as I can. So when the reckoning happens, it'll be me that loses them all. And so it won't seem as drastic because I'll know what happened because I'll be the one that lost 400 points and then I'll just get them back, or so
you lost more points than Trent 3.
Yeah, right. So it became a little bit of a side challenge, to try and just try to get as many points as I can from them, from the New York League, and just steal them so that when they get taken away, they'll be all taken away from one place or a few places, So, but that's fine. I mean,
To be fair, in Steve's defense, because I have to argue, and he doesn't know this, but I have to argue in his defense often when people are complaining about where he's ranked and how the system blah 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 blah, and you look at the points that Steve has earned, winning flip out, you won Free Play Florida. Some of you beat me in the finals one year, right? A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like you've won stuff.
Right.
And it's unfair for
it's nice
people.
to win stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like the
money.
arguments that I get for people to sort of like selectively look at your results and try to cherry pick and explain to me why things are broken. You've made it very easy for me to be able to reply to that person and paste everything that wasn't a Super League and say, okay, let's pretend Super League didn't exist. He's 13th. What would you like to do now?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
that's fun. I mean, sure, I'm a target. I know I'm a target. I don't care. It's human nature to throw stones from afar. That's part of the reason why I had the 4,001 lit post, so that when people hate, they can hate correctly. At least they can hate with justification.
It's interesting.
Stone.
I get asked by some of my friends who maybe don't know competitive pinball very well or don't know pinball at all, and they say, well, who's the best player in the world? And I pull up the first episode of Pinball with the Pros with Keith Elwin, and I go, that's the best pinball player in the world. And then they look at the rankings, I pull them, and they see now it's Zach Sharp, it's been Yorian forever. And I say, but this is the top ranked player in the world. And there's that difference in, Keith and Zach play 100 times. I'm probably thinking Keith's going to win 51 out of 100 just based on what I've seen. But
wow,
I know.
I want that.
Zach, I'm going to get the.
I want to see that
so much.
I want that. Oh my goodness! I want that invitational. I want bets. I want lines on that. What's the line on that? What's the over under?
It's gonna pain me not to edit that out because Zach's going to text me and be very upset with it.
I want
you
biggest
so
odds.
I'm just basing this on historical data and what I've seen and. Sorry, Zach. But when you say who's ranked the highest, that is sort of a real-time account of not only who's playing the best, but who's, had the stamina and sort of the willpower for the past 2 years to be at the top of the heap.
Right.
Zach is 37 and 69 against Keith, by the way, in their historic player versus player metric.
So I was being favorable then. So I owe Keith an apology right now.
Right.
But that's not completely. But that's not completely direct, is it? I mean, it's like if Keith finishes higher than Zach in a random tournament, then Keith wins. That's what that means, right?
Sure.
Keith
that takes things like Pinburg into account, which doesn't really show a head-to-head type of thing.
Yeah, I think this metric's actually pretty good because if we're both playing in the same tournament, like you better finish ahead of me or else I did beat your ass. like take that, man.
Yeah. So how long was Yorian Engelbrechtson the number one ranked player?
I have no idea.
I mean, it was a long time, right? It was the whole time I was doing Coast to Coast, I think.
Yeah, 2 years, probably.
2.5 years. So this is kind of a big deal that Zach did climb up and move in. How much of that, just off the cuff, and I know we could dissect this, but how much of that do you think is Zach's recent really good run versus things bleeding off and falling off Yorian's and Daniele's list of tournaments?
It's a combination of both. I mean, Yorian has succumbed to becoming a parent, and he was welcomed. He welcomed his son into this world by missing both Papa and IFPA. And that week. Bowen earned 400 points in 7 days, and the fact that Yorian, it's not only about Yorian took a 0 by not showing, versus even doing poorly and putting up like 30 or 40. You know, it doesn't mean that he had to put up 100 points for, you know, finishing in the top four, but he also has the opportunity to impact the results of other people. And I know that, like, this came up one of the first years that we came out back in 2007 when Lyman and Keith were racing for number one. And they were both at Pinball Expo in Chicago. And Lyman was hoping to face Keith in the first round so he could not only win the tournament and win the Whoppers for the tournament, but also ensure that Keith, like, didn't finish second, that he finished, like, eighth or worse. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff at play in terms of not only where you finish, but where your opponents finish that have a big impact on the rankings, especially at the majors.
Steve, what amount of time in your life do you spend worrying about the Whopper rankings?
Only when I happen to see it. I mean, I looked and saw from a post that said that Daniele was first for a hot minute, and then I happened to see that my name was on the JPEG that was on it, and I said, "Oh, the things moved," and then I checked, and then I was 7. Okay, cool. And so now you just said I was 8, so I looked and said, "Okay, I'm 8th. Okay, cool." So the Whopperitis has left me in that way. I mean, I definitely was.
Steve's been around a long time. Steve,
I've been checking earlier. When I was cracking the
of
top 100, I definitely had the Whopperitis. Then when I was sitting at 100 and I was cracking 100, you know, that definitely.
When was that? Like 2011, 2012, or before
something
that?
Like that, yeah.
Okay.
So I definitely know a period where I was checking it, you know, more often because, you know, yeah, I was definitely
because we've documented on the show you've been going to Papa for over 10 years.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 2008. So that's my first Papa. So
the original case of Whopperitis in that, like, 2007 time frame was a fierce epidemic because it was all hitting we the people from the 90s that were sort of all playing, you know, had no way of indirectly competing against each other, and now suddenly there was this thing that existed that, like, said that I was better than this guy from Sweden or Switzerland or whatever, and it's like, and now he's better than I am because of some tournament he played in that I didn't play in. And
I better hurry up and play another tournament somewhere. Right.
So it was, you know, Zach and I were definitely traveling around and going to tournaments that we had never gone to back in that, like, 07, 08 season. And then, you know, at some point the natural sort of, you find your new normal and equilibrium sets in and you move on. You move past it.
You know, talking to both of you guys at this year's Papa, it was an interesting time because Josh, you were not pleased with how the finals went for you. Obviously, you were bummed.
I didn't win.
You didn't win. I don't feel like, and maybe I'm remembering this a little bit wrong, I don't feel like you had the greatest time overall. I felt like you were frustrated a little bit. Am I wrong on that?
No.
I felt like you were. But what surprised me is because I left kind of thinking, oh boy, Josh is not happy. And I texted you later, and you were like, I'd do it all again tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Dude, like, you know, changing diapers full of crap, not fun. Like, playing competitive pinball, even if you're playing poorly, is so much fun. And it has to be, because, like, I mean, the amount of time and money that I spend, you know, away from my family, like for me, you know, these tournaments take up a majority of my vacation time. And this is when Amanda yells downstairs, you know, too much of your vacation time.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, and maybe it's because I've been doing it for so long, but if you're not having fun, there's no ranking system, there's no trophies, there's no anything that could make it fun, like, make it worthwhile for you. It has to be fun. And for me, there's nothing I'd rather be doing.
And Steve, this was the second year where your work schedule just really hampered you into having to literally drive New York to Pittsburgh on Friday, right?
Yeah, it's going to be that way for the near future as long as I saw the next year dates for Papa. And if standardized testing is as it is, guess what's going to happen next year. So I'm already mentally preparing to be the black hole of the circuit again, where any points I get go into the ether. I mean, if the circuit final happens on the day before Papa and Papa happens where it is, I probably won't be able to get to it unless some miracle happens. So, and that's not going to chase me away from circuit events. Let me tell you that, just because, I mean, whatever, it's still a competitive event. But I mean, I'm still going to be going to them. But yeah, I saw the dates and I was like, yep. I'm afraid of this. I was afraid of this.
Everyone.
It's my daughter's birthday, so I'm there with you. I think I can't make it to Papa until Friday. So everything starts. What's my kids?
Happens.
Don't have kids, people.
Okay.
If you want to be truly great at pinball, don't have children. No.
Don't have kids.
Steve, everyone that listens to the show assumes you're a teacher because you've told that story on Coast to Coast before. What is your actual profession?
Well, my actual profession now is system administrator for a school district. I'm not directly in the classroom, but I help to manage the computer network for the district.
Gotcha.
So there's a certain computerized, standardized test that must work at that time period in the year. So I have to help make sure that works correctly.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
or find another job and Papa time.
Yeah, right. Well, okay. I mean, hey, I'd love that dream job. Someone's gonna, pay me a reasonable salary to promote and do competitive pinball all year. Sign me up right now. That is only halfway a joke.
One of the things that I hope we get to do as we do this show, because this is just episode 1 of the Wide World of Pinball.
Right.
I definitely want to cover the circuits. I want to cover, the Papa circuit. I want to cover. Josh, talk about what you're doing with the IFPA and as far as tracking tournaments in the next little while. Has there been some changes there?
Not
I thought you guys were doing.
Where are you going? Where are you leading me?
I was leading you to the Hall of Fame series.
The Joe Said Hall of Fame series.
Yep,
so we have the Flipping with the Greats, which I think this is year 3.
Yep.
And teaming up, with the first year, it was just with Mike Ditka's Gridiron Greats Assistance Fund. And last year they brought in Alice Cooper's Solid Rock Foundation. And this year Joe at Pinball EDU is stepping in to join them and really tried to pull off something special. So Joe is running the entire shebang this year, and hopefully I know people are starting to sort of sign up for charity events under the Flippin' with the Greats banner, and I anticipate another year of fun stuff and another year of someone winning a pinball machine. I forget who won. It was in Arizona last year. I think Trent won a game from himself.
Oh, that's always nice.
He was also the person that was like donating or selling the game as part of the series, so it was an easy sale for him.
So
outside of that, we have the state championship series is in full swing halfway through the year, and I think for Steve and I can joke about how much we don't care about Whoppers and we don't look. It really is more about for people in the SES. It gives people a chance ranked in that 500 to 5,000 range.
That'd be me. That's me. That's me.
A chance at seeing some sort of competitive pinball success. And that's where we really see the people that are... I mean, I get emails about adjustments to points by... You think that less than one Whopper point isn't meaningful. But for the emails that I get from people, the ability for... I'm John Smith and I'm Jonathan Smith. Can you please combine these two profiles? I have 0.7 points on one and 0.4 on the other. And oh my God, if I was able to combine these and get to 1.1, it would just be amazing.
Because it matters though. If you're talking about states, I mean, that's some real achievement, and you can see there. I mean, you get your achievement points up there, so it does. If you qualify for states, who knows once you get there. You can catch a good run and win states, and all of a sudden you're planning a flight to wherever the national championship is.
Who's ranked ahead of you in New York right now, Steve? You're number 2.
I would imagine Sean Grant is just out of
Greg Pavarelli. Pavarelli.
Sunshine Laundry.
Sean Grant's number 3.
Okay, that should.
Now Greg has 3 times as many events as Sean does this year, but
okay, all right,
15 to 5.
That makes sense.
Now, just for the fun of it, we'll look at the 3 players ranked ahead of Mr. Josh Sharp in the state of Illinois. I'm guessing one of them. Yep, Keith Johnson, Lyman Sheets, Zach Sharp.
Yeah, that's not a bad. That's a fearsome foursome. I'll take our foursome against any other state's top 4. Let's go. Let's go to work.
Yeah. Yep, that's a pretty good bet there. New York versus Illinois would be good. That'd be good. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for episode 1. Is there any parting shots you'd like to throw in here for us?
that we got to 10% of the agenda.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
That means we can save it for the next.
I know, it's amazing.
We'll get to talk about whether last entry is best later.
We will.
And just a preview.
No, that's your parting shot. There it is, Steve Bowden.
There it is. Yes. So yes, let's hype the next episode. It's like, what do you think of having your last entry count?
I can't wait to hate on that. So
nice. All right.
Oh, we're foreshadowing episode 2. I love it.
Remember that post was just an idea. It was not a endorsement, neither a detraction of it. I'm just interested in see what would happen and the drama that might result.
this is going to be
It's
fun.
the top of the notebook on episode number 2 page right now.
Other than that, we should just pimp our stuff like all the other gaming podcasts.
Yep, do it to it.
All right, so I'll pimp mine first. So you know me online as Fun with Bonus. So I'm funwithbonus.com, Fun with Bonus on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, probably. So my SEO is pretty good. So if you go to Google and search Fun with Bonus, I'll probably come up first. You might see some slot machine stuff come up there. I mean, since they use that concept as well. But yeah, that's me. Visit me on Facebook. If you have any ideas for the new pinball dictionary, try me out. We'll see if we can get it popular enough to get it posted on the Hall of Fame. We're
going to add that to next show. We'll start a reoccurring theme of pinball dictionary definitions. That'll also be on episode number 2.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Go to Tilt Forums. There's a nice pinball dictionary topic on there you might want to contribute to. That a lot of competitive pinball players contribute to there. That's where a lot of the really good ideas come from anyway, so it just makes sense to have one on Tilt Forums. I mean, why not? So other than that, I mean, I'm glad to be on this first effort on the new podcast. This is awesome.
Thank you, Steve Bowden. Josh Sharp, what would you like to plug here?
Are we? Do we plug NiftyLED.com? Is that our show? That's not our show.
That's not our show, but I'm sure they're great guys. One of them's name is Nate.
You could plug Audible.com, maybe. I mean, I can plug.
Not unless they pay me.
Okay, not doing that.
Us. Excuse me, us.
That's right. You better be splitting this thing. We should have talked about that.
Anyway,
give it to my Patreon.
Look at the shiny lights.
Plug the IFPA's website is ifpapinball.com.
Yes,
it is. That's where you can track.
If I have anything else to plug, Nate, you can plug it for me.
I think that is kind of it. Yeah, Josh Sharp, the president of IFPA. That's a big one. I, of course, plug Coast2CoastPinball.com, where this will show up in the RSS feed for Coast to Coast Pinball. It'll be on the Facebook page. It'll have its own web page on Coast2CoastPinball.com that you'll see as WWOP. That's episode number 1. I want to thank Steve. I want to thank Josh. And thank you guys for listening. Until next time, take care of yourselves.